Sound guys, how you doing? Welcome back to episode 2 of the Wolfpack podcast with me, Dan. We've got a massive show lined up for you guys, so if you are about, feel free to get involved in the comments. Who we got? We've got Jamie saying hello. How you doing, Jamie? And yeah, if you want to get involved, feel free to do so. That's what we love on here. We've got a lovely panel. We've got a lovely special guest, and yeah, I'm gonna get straight into it because we are gonna mess about. First person on the panel is John. Say hi, John. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you?
All good. All good. All good.
Good, good.
Sound. Next on the panel, we've got the wonderful bearded man of Dan C. How you doing, mate?
I'm great, thanks. You all right?
There we go, lovely. I worried then you had your bit of delay on you again, but you're all right again.
That was the joke.
Oh, okay, yeah. I see what you're trying to do, mate. You git. Yeah, sound, and we've also got, of course, Kyle. How you doing, Kyle? You doing well?
How are we? Good to be back.
All good. Wet me whistle. And then, of course, our special guest of the evening is the absolutely incredibly awesome, talented legend, Wolves legend, Matt Jarvis. How you doing, mate?
Good evening, everyone. How are we all?
All good.
What an intro, by the way.
I know, fantastic intro. Thank you very much.
Gave it a go for you.
We just missed out the bit where he's my hero, but apart from that, we're good.
Oh,
here we go.
Me.
I had to get it in.
I had to get it in. 3 minutes. Did anyone have 3 minutes?
I had to get it in.
Nah, fair play. Nah, absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on our little podcast, Matt. Really appreciate that, mate. Joe says evening. How you doing, Joe? There's a load of people talking on Instagram as well, but I can't pull your comments up. Someone's singing the Matthias Cunha song over on Instagram, which we love, which is amazing. So yeah, right, we've got an amazing show lined up. The first of which isn't so amazing. We're talking about the last 2 games. We couldn't have picked 2 worse games, I don't think, Matt, to talk about. Yeah, but we're going to do it anyway, because you know what? We're Wolves, and you know we win some, we lose some. It's one of them, isn't it? So, the first game is the Man City game. And that looks dreadful, doesn't it? 5-1. Now, we all knew we'd get tanked by City. No one thought, oh, you know, we're gonna have an Adama Traore moment again, and he's, you know, some random person's gonna score 2 goals. No, we knew we were gonna get tanked. It wasn't the best game. So yeah, let's talk about it. John, do you want to start us off with that awful game against Man City?
Yeah. So I was actually at a wedding, but I managed to catch up on it as best I could when I got back. But yeah, it's best team in the world, and best one, obviously, at their own stadium. It was always going to be difficult. We're, for me, on the beach already as a team. Players are knackered. Some coming back from injury. It was always going to be difficult, and I don't think we've got, as I say, much to play for now as a team. I don't think we can really go much up the table. So I just think it was one of them. We just pretty much rolled over. I don't think we've been that good since Dawson has been out of the side. I think he's such an experienced leader. I think he really controls the back line, and we can really see, especially against teams like City, they just weren't in control of the back line, and I just can't wait for next season for him to come back, and we can actually look at getting a clean sheet. But yeah, just individual mistakes, sloppy. Attack-wise, I didn't think Cunha had a good game. He's usually so good in every game, so effective, and I just thought he had a really off game. Yeah, it was just a terrible performance, and I think with obviously the situation at the moment with City, the points they need, we were always going to lose that game.
Yeah, fair play. Kyle, what do you think about that Man City game, mate?
Where do I start? It went from bad to worse, didn't it? It's the playing out from the back for me. I know obviously Pep, he kind of invented it, didn't he, and brought it over. And there's so many managers adapting that, playing out from the back and thinking, oh yeah, we can do that, or we can attempt to do it, and we just can't do it, can we? It's so difficult, especially as well when you've not got your main centre half in out with Dawson, and it's just difficult. And when you're coming up against a team like City, you make one mistake and they'll smash two past you. Do you know what I mean? Just the way they work, and they're such a dangerous team, and we just made too many mistakes. And I think after the second goal, I think we gave up, to be honest, and it was a shame because up until the first goal, we were doing okay, and then we had that VAR decision go against us, and then it was just.
I thought that as well. I thought up until they scored that first goal, thought we were passing the ball around okay-ish. Do you know what I mean? Keeping possession when we could, and we were being just on our guard. I felt like it was one of those performances really where we didn't want to do too much in case we make a mistake and whatever. And really, we didn't end up making a mistake even for them to score their first goal, did we? Because
no, I think when you get a call like that, you just kind of know which way the game's going to go. And I think that's why they were reluctant to give the second VAR decision, because I think they realised they made a bit of a mistake in the 8-0 one. And, you go back 10, 20 years, that's never, ever a pen. And I don't think things like that should change. And that's what, it's frustrating with VAR, because they'll look at it and some will give it and some won't. And it's the inconsistency. We've spoke about it before, that is really annoying. And one week you get them, one week you don't. And unfortunately, that was one of the weeks that we just didn't get anything go our way. So a bit of a shame, but we move.
Yeah. So Dan, what do you think, mate?
Well, I was going to have a bit of a spin on this and try and only mention positive things, but I don't think I'll do that anymore.
Good luck.
Well, they were all very well turned out and very smartly dressed. I thought that was good. Do you remember last season when Nunes, I think it was against Forest, got into the box and somebody ripped his boot off, and the referee said to Neves that there wasn't enough contact for a penalty?
Yeah.
Where's that? Where's that this season when two players run into each other? Is that now a penalty? Do you know what I mean? But anyway, so yeah, I think you were right. There were periods of the game where we looked almost comfortable, which I thought was good. The goal was really good. Bellegarde's cross was absolutely beautiful. I was really chuffed with that, because he's been a bit like a headless chicken earlier in the season, I think, a little bit. But that cross he whipped in was really promising. And Wang's for a header was good. Haaland's goal, I mean, he must have jumped 10 foot in the air. It's ridiculous. So that goal was machine. Yeah, but we missed Dawson. That's it. That's about it, really. I mean, like you say, you expect Man City to beat us by quite a lot. Just a shame, not quite so much. But
Yeah, I mean, in my match review, I mean, I talked about that up until the first goal, I thought we handled ourselves pretty professionally, really, considering the run of form that we was in, and then it just really took the wind out of our sails, that VAR decision. And then it just never looked really like we could settle ourselves down enough to sort of get back into the game. And then when we kind of did try to get back into the game, it was already like they'd already figured us out and they could score. They probably could have scored more, to be honest. It's quite crazy that it ended up being 5, really, in a sort of way, because we did seem to defensively fall apart towards the end of the game. So. Yeah, I mean, not great, but what did you think about it, Matt?
I think it's difficult. If you look at that VAR decision, I think they reviewed it afterwards, and even like a week and a half later, I think it was 5 people, and I think it's still 3 said it was a pen and 2 didn't. So as you say about consistency, and it's still people's opinions, it's really difficult. But it's just wrong time of the year to play City, especially. They're so close to winning the Premier League again. There was never going to be a point there where it wasn't going to be a Man City onslaught. Haaland back in the team, needing to score goals. It was just the wrong time to be there and playing, because, as you say, the team does play well in part, and and it stands up. Yes, Dawson, Neto's obviously a huge miss as well. But it's just you got to write them games off sometimes where you're not expected to get anything. They're in a huge part of the season where they're gonna walk over anyone to get what they need, which was the 3 points, and they did it in style in the end. But it's just one of them games that it's not going to make or break Wolves' season.
Yeah, couldn't put it better ourselves, to be fair. I feel like we've all sort of tapped onto what the game was all about. We've talked about sort of the first goal being the pen, not being such a great decision, really. I know that the panel have talked about that, and it was it 4 out of 5 people, was it, or something like that, said that it was a bad decision.
3 out of 5.
3 out of 5, sorry. Was it? I thought it was in it wasn't. Didn't it go against? I don't know. Anyway, whatever it was, you still see that these decisions that they're not costing us now, but had our season not gone the way it did, those sort of calls could have relegated us. Do you know what I mean? So okay, it's a bit of a nothing game in a way. We shouldn't really say that, but the way it is at the moment, it was a bit of a nothing game, and it did feel a bit like that after they started scoring, didn't it? So yeah, that second goal. Do you guys think that could be prevented? The one where he's leaping up.
Nah, no chance.
No, not a chance,
mate. He's an absolute animal when the ball's in the air. It would take some defender to. Even Virgil van Dijk struggled against him this season with balls over the top like that, mate. The geezer can leap.
Mate,
he was a whole body height above the defender. He was literally a whole Haaland above the defender.
Dawson would have had it, mate. Dawson would have had him.
Nah.
He would.
He'd have trodden his boot.
I love Dawson to bits, mate, but he ain't.
He had,
beat
mate,
Haaland,
at Molyneux, he come up to him, Haaland did, and was like, fair play.
Yeah,
he literally just made him look inept the whole game. It was great. But yeah, well, I wasn't really talking about the action itself, in that, Semedo obviously couldn't get a jetpack in time to be able to reach it. Or he wasn't Michael Jordan. I was talking more of the fact that we gave the ball away again. Like, I mean, we're going to talk about the Palace game, and that was every goal. Every goal was us giving the ball away up high and just, struggling. And for me, we just farted around with the ball again. We lose the ball, and then all of a sudden, it's a couple of it's a couple of passes, one crossing, bosh, 2-0. And it was just disappointing, to be fair, because I feel like we kind of gave them that second goal, and that was it, really. I just thought from that time it was just game over. What do you guys think about that? Do you think we should have probably defended a little bit better for that second?
I think so. I think, we'll go back to playing out from the back, and against a team like City, like I said, you make one mistake and they're gonna score. It's just how they play. They capitalise on absolutely everything. They press high. When you're playing out from the back, you've got to look at the other team's formation and how they're setting up. If they've got 5 on your back 4 and your midfield, you're not going to find the pass. They're going to be there. They're going to read the game. They're going to be sharp, and you've got to get it, and you've got to just fuck it off. Like, even if you lose the ball on the halfway line, it's better than losing it in your own half near the edge of your box, so they can string 2 passes and a cross together, and like you say, make it 2-0. You've got to just get rid of it. It's let them build up, and we can press them high. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what? It's really hard. As a player that's played away at Man City and chased the ball for 90 minutes, it's really difficult, honestly. When you do get the ball, you try your best to keep it, because it's hard enough chasing around, for the 90 minutes when you're defending. When you get the ball, it's actually even harder to then try and attack, because you haven't got the energy that you've just been chasing everyone else around. So it's really difficult to just smash the ball up the field and everyone sort of get up the pitch and we go again and press from high, because you can't get out. And when you lose the ball, you sat behind the ball and everyone's trying to be in shape to try and. So when you lose it, you need to have them one or two few passes to actually get the players to move up the field a little bit to then get a bit more of your teammates to be able to play in their half. And they Man City, that's why they're top of the league. They do it so well. If it's any other team, I think, them passes, you can get through a midfield, you can get through, so it's not changing the philosophy, I suppose, that Gary O'Neill's sort of set out, and that's how he wants to play. I think these games, they are, you're not expected to get anything for a reason. They are top side, and I think you in them situations just trying to do them, and it's not to see how it goes, but you've got to put yourself under pressure to be able to play out of these things, and if you do give the ball away, you're going to get punished because they are that good.
Yeah, no, I agree, completely agree with you.
It's nice to have that insight on it, to be fair, because we don't realise what it's like. Yeah, we've played as kids and stuff,
Honestly, if it's me and I'm playing and then you've been chasing for ages, you haven't touched the ball, and then suddenly you get the ball and you make one run and they give the ball away, and you're like, I've got to defend again. You want to have that little bit of chance to actually have the ball and play, and it is really difficult. And your enthusiasm to sprint forward is more than to sprint back. And that's from a forward-thinking player, anyway. If someone's got the ball and you can run forward, you run forward. If you've got the ball to run back, you're like, I'm going again, chasing Kyle Walker back again. It's a different sort of mindset, and it's hard to do. That's why, once one or two go in, it's then you think, well, I'm not making that run forward because it's just going to come straight back. So it's a difficult place to be when you're in that position. You're 2 down, 3 down. Where do you go? What do you do? Do you make a run? Do you not? Do you try that pass, or do you just hook it knowing that it's just going to come straight back? So it's a really difficult place to be as a player.
How much of that does come down to your mental strength? Because obviously everyone in the Premier League, they're prime athletes, aren't they? That they're in
absolutely.
Physical shape, bar injuries, of course. But how much of that actually comes? Do you go into a game thinking, "Oh shit, we're playing Man City, we're going to have to run and chase a game," or is there like something that happens back in the background stuff, and in the changing room where you go, actually, boys, if we pull together, we've got a chance here?
Yeah, I think it's it is a mindset. It is a mentality of the manager of, right, how do you set this team up? How are we? What's our game plan going into this? Are we sitting off and just soaking up loads of pressure and trying to hit them on the break, or are we, when we get the ball, are we going to try and play, or are we going to try and hook it into their half and everyone squeeze up? But then you're leaving like Haaland, who's like a cheater. He's going to be sprinting in behind all the time. He's that quick. He's just going to be in behind. So you don't want to leave that space. So you've got to have. They would have had a game plan. Gary O'Neill was very particular. He would have worked on this on the training pitch. And like you say, in the change rooms, I used to speak to my fullback and my midfielder or striker, just say, when you get the ball, this is what I'm going to. This is where I want to be. This is what. And then you can sort of do all of that before the game. And during a game, it can become very difficult, because everyone's running here, there, and everywhere. The runner's off you. There's this. You're trying to shout on this. The crowd's obviously making so much noise. It's just going back to, right, what is our aim? What is the manager told us? What is our shape? When we get the ball, what are we doing with it? When we don't have the ball, where are we? Or what runners am I taking, checking? And so you do have that mentality of, right, this is going to be a really difficult game going into this. They are going to have a lot more possession than we are. So how do we combat that? And when we get the ball, are we just going to give it back to them, or are we going to try and play? And I think unfortunately, that's where you then get into a position that you do lose the ball more, because they are so good at winning it back. But you have to have them first few passes to soak up a bit of pressure, a bit of energy to actually then get your players in the right positions to go forward. So it's a catch-22 when you play against City, because they do the attacking so well, and then they defend really well, of counter, like pressing to win it back. So it's a difficult one. It really is.
Do you think there's like a right or wrong answer? Do you think there is a game plan that you can go ahead and you can turn over City, like not just do your 1-0s and like absolutely turn them over like your 3-0s?
I think obviously I think that's quite a top team that's going to go into City and win 3-0. But you can definitely have a game plan. You can definitely have a bit of luck on your side, which with regards to they're not quite at it in the sense of they're finishing. Haaland on another day might not have scored, would he scored 4, 5? He's an incredible finisher, but other days he's missed a few, whereas that day he didn't. You need all of that on your side, but you do need to have, if you're going to play that counter-attacking, you need pace up front because it's going to hurt them. That's what happened. You say about Traore, that's what happened. He had pace and power, and it was like a breakaway, and he just went on and scored. That is how you hurt a City. You need pace and power to break in a counter-attack, and that's where they have come. Any of their goals really have come from that sort of counter-attacking. Where they've missed the first couple of passes at City, when they try and win it back really quickly, they've gone past them, and then you're into the back two really, and Rodri, because the fullbacks are high and wide, the midfielders are high pressing. So if you can get past them, you're sort of however many you've got going forward against 3 defenders. Yes, they're all very top defenders. They're all pretty quick as well, but that's your game plan. You've got to bypass the first midfielders. Exactly.
We saw that with Neto at Molineux, didn't we?
Precisely.
The pace is just, if you've got someone with pace, you can just get behind them, and that's really the only thing you can do. Really, it's not like a ball over the top's going to do any good because they're all super good in the air. It's very, very
it's a threat, isn't it?
Midfield battle. So
yeah, it's a threat, and it has that in their mind. The defenders thinking, well, if I make that run forward, I know that in behind, a Neto, when he was going to be sprinting into the space where I've just left. So part of that defender's mind's going to be thinking, well, I'm going on this overlap, but I know that he's there. So if we lose the ball, I need to get back. So you're already putting doubt in their mind of, shall I go, shall I not? Neto then, or the wide player, whoever it is that's got that pace, can play a little bit of cat and mouse and be like, well, I'll sort of go back with him this time. Maybe next time I'll just sort of hover the other side of him. And then if we do break, I'm in. And that's how you can catch people out. It's just putting a little bit of doubt in players' minds and hoping that you get in on one of the passes, because then you only need one time. You only need one opportunity to score, and that's it.
Yeah, so we talked about most of the goals there. The second penalty, do we think it's a second penalty, or Dan, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Probably. I think it was.
I
think it was. The first one wasn't, no way, but the second one, it was.
Yeah. I think the first one's more of like one of those silly ones, really. It's a 50-50 at the end of the day. If that happens anywhere else on the pitch, there's 2 players down, you stop the game and you go, right, okay, drop ball, bosh.
Well, he wasn't even looking. He was looking the other way. He was looking over here.
I think it was just the fact that both of them were on the floor, and it was how do you even determine, And you say that VAR looked at it. They didn't look at it very long, so it's not like they were like super meticulous about it. They were like, "Oh, let's just double check all these things." They couldn't have done that because there wasn't enough time to do it. It was really quick. The only thing that took time was getting them both off their arses. He'd made his decision. It was like the ball was on the spot. That was it. So yeah, we all sort of unanimous in the second penalty decision. Yeah. Cool. All right, nice. And then obviously we did allude to the fact that Hwang did manage to get a goal back. But what really is disappointing, and same thing happened against Palace as well, is we score a goal and then not long after they score again and it's back to square one, isn't it? Not that
gutting.
Yeah, not that Hwang scoring was going to really help too much, but it offers some window into a bit of positivity, and it sucked it straight out of us when they scored the last goal. It's just really annoying, really.
It's that mentality boost, isn't it? Like Matt said, it is a mentality, and when you do get a goal back, you think, "Oh, okay, let's go," and then they score again, and you think, "Oh, fucking hell!"
Literally, exactly that.
I can imagine that's exactly what they thought.
Yeah. Nice one. Right, cool. Are we happy to move on to the Palace game? I mean, we're not happy about it, but we're going to anyway. You've got no choice. I'm doing it. Right, lovely. So the Palace game, it ended Wolves 1, Palace 3. What do you think, John, about this game?
To be honest, playing from the back again, I know obviously the reason why maybe the manager doesn't want to change that with the season coming to an end. Why change what you've been playing for so long? But it didn't work. A lot of sloppy passing, too many times losing the ball. It just didn't look like the Wolves I know. Even people like Gomez making mistakes, Lamina making mistakes. Every single player there just seemed to have a mistake in them. Boubacar Traore had been so good. I remember his game against, I think it was Arsenal. He looked really good, and then in this game, again losing the ball. Just everyone just seemed to be off it, and I think, as I said before, I just think that they're just knackered. We haven't had much rotation. We haven't got the depth, and eventually they lose the ball, and Palace got some top players, and them top players just made the most of it, utilised it, and scored. So yeah, I know a few people were criticising the first goal, saying that Bentley could get to it, but I don't think he could. I don't think Saul would either. It was a really good finish. But yeah, I think it's one of those ones. I think that the players just mentally just think the season's over, and very similar to Man City. I kind of had a really bad feeling before they'd even kicked the ball about the game. So yeah, they're just knackered to me. And
Yeah,
I think we'll
Muggs
probably see the
said
same against Liverpool.
Yeah, Muggs said the worst thing we could have done is try to pass out against potentially 3 most informed players. But it's kind of what Matt was talking about. To be fair, it's like if you've got a philosophy, you have to just keep going, don't you? It's all right to adapt into situations and everything, but when it's so early on in the game, or you've still got time in the game, really you need to just keep going, because that's what you prepared for. That's where your formation's there for. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's easy to change everything. Just go back to square one. But you can see that with Spurs. With Big Ange, he's not going to change anything. And at the moment, yeah, he's getting punished for it. But I guarantee you, once all of the things start to come together, and there's cohesion in that squad, because they're constantly going at it all the time. It's like Nuno when he was at Wolves. We there was not very many times where he changed what we were doing, and because all of the squad knew what they were doing, we could get good results against teams we probably shouldn't have done. You know what I mean? So I do get your point, Muggs. I do get your point, but at the same time, I think Matt put it really well. You've got to kind of just stick to your game plan at the same time as well. And if that is that part of the game plan, and we have seen it work before, you got to kind of keep going.
I think if this fixture, sorry to jump in, if this fixture was 2 months ago, I think it's a different story. Both teams are very different. The confidence at Wolves was good. They're playing out from the back. Everyone was in good form. There was results, and then you flip that on Crystal Palace. They were in a terrible place. They weren't picking up wins. Now they've had. I've seen them quite a few times recently. They're in great form. Mateta's in the form of his life. Elise and Eze are top players, but they've been injured a lot this season. They're now back. They're playing regular. They've played the last sort of 4 or 5 games together. They've been outstanding. So it's again a different mentality. They're flying. Everything's going well for them. They are playing. They're playing some great stuff. Little flicks around the corner, and then you flip that back. Wolves are not quite in the same place that they were a few months ago. Injuries, Cunha back, but there was so many chances in the game to score. It could have been 3-3, it could have been 4-3. There was a lot of opportunities to score. Obviously, the keeper's made some good saves, but it's again coming up a team that's in great form. You could not have come up against 2 more informed teams, really, apart from Arsenal. It's just it's very unfortunate that these 2 teams come back to back. But your expectations as a Wolves fan and as a Wolves player is you're at home to Crystal Palace is to get a result.
Yeah. What do you think, Matt, about the them having a new manager and everything? Obviously, you've been in the dressing room. You've probably used to different managers coming in a squad that you're in and stuff. Is it true there is a lot of that new manager bounce mentality?
Absolutely.
You're sort of in it?
Yeah, because the thing is, it's the ones that have been playing that the old manager loved. They were playing week in, week out, so they're match fit, they're match ready. Then the new manager comes in, and you're back on trial again. You have to prove that you should be in the starting 11, but it's also a lease of life for the players that the old manager wasn't really feeling, that wasn't really giving them any game time, was on the bench or not in the squad. And you just get a new lease of life, and it's a whole new. A lot of the time, it's completely different mentality, different style of play, or it's a new face in the door, fresh ideas. Training's completely different, and I think that it all just freshens everything up. And then you think, well, actually, this might be my time. I might get in a team now, and I could have a run of games here because he might like this, he might like that. He might have changed a quick formation that suits me better to the previous manager. And you do, that's why you do get that immediate bounce of belief and confidence, because you're on trial and you have to do well, and you have to prove to the manager that you should be in the team. Yes, it should have been like that in the previous manager, but it's just the way it goes with the new manager. You have to go in, because otherwise, for the next however many months the new manager's there, you're not going to be in the team.
Nicely put, mate. Someone in the Instagram chat, you'll be pleased to hear this, Matt. Someone's just called you the GOAT, which is really nice. And someone put Jarvinho as well.
Oh, nice. Very nice, thank you.
Nice compliments in Instagram. Thanks, guys. While we're on the subject of that, we'll go over the Palace game in a minute. We have got 240 people plus watching, which is really, really awesome. I can appreciate there's a couple of Premier League fixtures on at the moment as well. So obviously that's fair if you're not around at the moment. This is also going to be saved to various platforms, YouTube, Facebook, X, and Instagram. Did I say Instagram?
And Spotify.
And Spotify as well. So yeah, it's all going to be there after for you to watch and listen at your leisure. And if you are here at the moment, I know a load of you guys are getting involved in the comments. Please feel free to keep doing so. We're all here to talk about the wonderful game of football and of course the old gold and black. So yeah, get involved as much as you can. Kyle, what do you think of the Crystal Palace game, mate?
Yeah, again, I think, like we say, playing out the back, it didn't work, and I think you've got to have a few tricks up your sleeve, ready to go. If something doesn't go your way early on, I think as players and a manager, you've got to have a few tricks up your sleeve to go right. That's how that happened. Do we stick with what we got, or do we go and try and find another avenue? Is this going to keep happening in the game? Are we strong enough over in that position, or are we strong enough holding the ball in midfield? Are we strong enough playing it out from the back? Blah blah blah. I think you've got to look and you've got to try and find the different avenues, and it's not easy. I'm not a backseat manager who goes, we should have been doing this and this, because what do I know? I've had a little bit of managerial experience at grassroots level. It's nothing like the Premier League, but even at grassroots, it's hard to look at a game from the sideline and go, that's working, that's not working. And it's difficult, I respect anybody who can go out there and perform at the top level, because it is really difficult. But, like the comments said, you're playing against some of the most informed players again for a second week running. We got Liverpool at the weekend as well away. So it's one of them, there's no right or wrong time to play your teams like Man City's or your Liverpool's, your big six clubs. But you look at Palace on paper and you think, yeah, okay, we can get a result or at least a point at home. But with the way they're playing, you can understand why we didn't. They were the better team on the day, and it is a shame to say that, but you can't take nothing away from Palace. I think they were absolutely brilliant on the day. So fair play to them.
I thought that as well. I thought their fans turned up as well. I thought I've been to a load of Palace games home and away, and I thought that normally they're quite quiet when we play them. Really, I thought they were on form. Like they were really, really good. They were out singing the South Bank quite a bit. So fair play. And to be fair, like it's one of those teams, Palace, like quite similar to us. So it's nice to see a team with a decent manager, some good players. Hopefully they hold on to these players as well. I've seen a lot of the times where like you look at Brighton, okay, that I like their model of selling players and whatever, that's looking like what we're going to start doing as well. But sometimes, it's good to keep those kind of players as well. And I hope Palace do that really and start to progress. I think that with the manager they've got now, the players they've got, I think it definitely could turn out to be a good season next season. Anything else you want to say on the Palace game? Sorry, Kyle, I interrupted you a little bit.
No, you're fine, mate. I think it was just a shame, really, that we, like we say, played Palace when we did. They're brilliant. The new manager's doing a fantastic job as well, and I just think on another day it could have gone our way, but I don't think we could have expected too much, to be honest. I think our heads have just dropped a little bit, and we're happy mid-table. Our season's pretty much finished. We've got not really much to play for. It's nice to go and play all the way to the end, but I don't think we're too bothered whether we win, lose, or draw now, to be honest. But it is what it is. We all love playing, and we all love watching it, and we'll go again.
Yeah, same. Joe's just said on Facebook, I believe, it says, remember Matt scoring against Blackburn in a friendly, thinking we would have a great season. Do you remember that, Matt? I bet you don't, do you? So
I don't. Not that many goals, but I actually don't. No.
No.
Hopefully it was a worldie because I can't remember it.
Sure it was.
We can't have had a bad season unless it was the one that we went down.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think the other seasons were half decent.
Yeah, nice. Well, we're going to get into, if you're just joining us, we are going to get into obviously talking to Matt about his career and all that stuff as well. We're just still talking about the Palace game. Dan C, what was your opinion?
Well, I was going to start with some positive stuff again, but I'm not going to do that. No, I've got some positives. Mateta had his shirt tucked in his pants, so that was brilliant. Really, really smart. Looked good. Oh, the boys are well turned out. I'm not going to lie. I was a bit dismayed when, because I was right behind the goal. So when I saw Bentley warming up. Now, when he came in, I thought, oh, he's all right. And then, he's been a bit touch and go. But I was a bit disappointed. I mean, Starr got injured in the warm-up, didn't he, I believe? Is that what happened to him?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame. But,
Apparently he's poorly or something, weren't he? Or something.
I don't know. The thing with Starr, have you noticed that when we're losing by too many goals, he goes off injured? Have you noticed this?
He did that
twice this season.
Bless him. With the Brighton one with Bruno Lage.
He's like, on my back.
Oh, man, I'm not going to be able to come on for the next half. So enjoy being tanked 6 or whatever you're going to get tanked. That's fine. I'm just going to go have a massage or whatever. I don't blame him, to be fair.
Well, I mean, the first 20 minutes reminded me of last season. Like a lot of possession and then just completely impotent. Nothing going forward. Looked comfortable, but nothing was happening. And as soon as they get the ball, it was just 3 passes and it was a goal. It was ridiculous. And the second goal, and then somebody fainted in the South Bank behind me, and that was more interesting. So it was a bit worrying.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I saw that.
They had to shout at the paramedics to come up, and they wouldn't come up. I'm not sure why. Especially after what happened to Villa the other week. I think you thought they'd be a bit quicker on that, wouldn't you?
I know, yeah. I know that they did attend to him and they are okay.
They did, yeah. He was fine, yeah.
We're all good. But, I do agree with you. I mean, it was one of them where it was just frustrating, man, because we had so much of the ball at the start. And you just thought, oh, you know what? We're passing it around all right here. This is all right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were against a Palace team that's just beat United, so I was expecting us to maybe get a draw. I wasn't expecting a high-scoring game from Wolves, but we looked really good on the ball, and it looked like we were going to do something with it. But I personally feel in that game we lost the midfield battle. I just feel like our midfield, for some reason, one reason or another, we had no strength in the midfield whatsoever. So there was nothing to anchor the ball to. It was always constantly we were playing out, trying to get over the halfway line, and then it was just like waiting for it to come back again. And it was just sometimes we could deal with it, and then for their goals, for both of them, it was just us losing the ball. It just seemed to me, and I said this on the review, Palace just turned the screw all of a sudden.
Yeah.
It just felt like they just went, all right, we've had enough now of all that huff and puff. We're just going to push you on the ball now.
Yeah.
And then we just couldn't deal with it at all. Like Semedo gets caught, and then Elise, great finish, but shouldn't have happened. I feel like at source it should have been stopped, and it's just frustrating, man. It reminded me a little bit of the Bournemouth game as well, because there was a lot more sort of, I don't know, just after that Luton game, I felt like, we could probably show something, and yeah, not good. Matt, what did you think? Sorry, Dan, are you finished with what you...
Not quite, but Matt,
carry on.
carry on.
No.
Like,
Dan, please carry on. Please carry on.
Yeah, okay, all right. If you must, I thought Sarabia was really good. He's as good as I've seen him all season. I thought he came in with a bit of fire. This because his birthday or whatever, but he came on, wanted to prove something, and he seemed to. Stuff happened when he came on, so that was good. Which is, he's been hot and cold all season. He's been either really good or dire. I don't think there's been a mid ground for him. No. And I like him. I think he's a good player, but he just whenever he gets the ball, he's not going to run with it, or he's just a bit. But he turned up. The goal being allowed by VAR was ridiculous. I can't believe that. I couldn't believe they turned over a disallowed goal. Is that the first time it's happened to us this season?
No, I think it has happened before, but it's very rare when it does, isn't it?
It's a unicorn.
It's never one of them where you go like on if it happened against us. I've said this thousands of times. So I don't know if you guys know this as well, but if it happens against us and it's a howler, I will put my hands up and go, "That's a howler," right? But for example, some of the decisions like West Ham and that. No offense, Matt. Some of the decisions just recently, I've just thought like. You look at the opposition fan base and they're like, no, definitely, no, there's nothing wrong with that and all this. And I'm like, you have to take off your bias glasses. And I just felt like, I was talking to Palace fans after and they were all the same, just going, yep, no, should have been allowed that, can't understand that. And I'm like, okay, whatever, man, whatever. But yeah, carry on, Dan.
Yeah, just that was the worst bit for me. So the goal came in, Cunha got the crowd fired up, and we were like, yes, and then they scored straight away, and it was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah, just
forget
like
it.
Man City. Just like the game against Man City.
Exactly. So then I was watching what the beach ball was doing after that, and I sort of zoned out a bit.
That was fun, actually. That was fun. I
didn't get it. I was hoping it would come over, but it didn't.
Yeah, I was filming a match vlog, and I was filming it, and it hit me right in the face. It was fantastic. Really enjoyed it. Enjoyed that a lot. Cool. Not that I like balls in my face, but no, there you go. When they're inflatable or whatever, not too bad.
It's okay if you
Matt,
do.
Yeah.
It's a good memo. You'll be all right. I think I said it earlier. I think it's one of them that there was chances in the game. I think on another day they go in, but you're playing against a team that's full of confidence. The team, the manager's got them knowing every single role and responsibility in their team, and you're playing against, as the comment said, you're playing against three such informed players, and Mateta with his tucked in shirt seems to be doing a trick. He's scored in every game, I think, since he's done that. And Eze and Elise are wonderful players to watch, and I think they're enjoying their football at the moment, and it just shows in their performance. And I think that's the difference at the moment at Wolves. The team's still fighting for everything, but it's just because it hasn't quite happened and the results haven't quite been there, and there's been injuries and there's spells in games where everything comes together, but at the moment it just hasn't been as a full 11 players all firing at the same time. And I think it will be good to have the season finish. I think it's been a fantastic season for Wolves in the circumstances, and for Gary O'Neill. I really do. If you're looking from the start of the season, before the start of the season to now, I really do think it's been a good season. And you just want it to be right, finish now, and then concentrate on what's going to happen in the summer. I think that's a huge issue. I think they need to sort out how the club's going to go forward, and who's staying, who's going, who's coming in. I think that's going to be a big part of what happens to next season, because I think Gary Neal will do a really, really good job.
With the pre-season and everything, you never know, do you? We've been linked to some players as well that obviously we'll talk about later on as well, which will help the fold as well, because I think, yeah, injuries this season has just left us so bare bones. And just sometimes you're looking at that bench and you're just looking at a 15-year-old who's buzzing that he missed science. You know what I mean? That's the level that we reached in some of the tail end of the season, was someone who was like, oh yes, I missed science.
He's a hero at school though.
Yeah, I bet, mate. I bet, yeah, sound. But yeah, I mean, to wrap up the Palace game, I just think there was obviously some positives in there. We obviously got to see another goal by Cunha, which was a good finish again. And I think what people are starting to forget is we did start to come back into this game just before they scored that last goal. Cunha looked like a man possessed. Like he was looking like he played against Chelsea, where he's just getting out wide, beating his man, and it just looks like he's getting to get into the box and do something. He did it so many times, but unfortunately didn't get into the box enough to win us a penalty.
On that,
just outside, wasn't it?
Go on, Kyle. What were you saying?
Yeah. No, just on that. Sorry to jump in.
No, carry on.
I think you could really see the passion that Cunha has for football just from his goal celebration. You know, he turned around to the fans and he was like, "Get behind us. We want you." And I think footballers need the fans a lot more than they probably let on. And I think it's so important as a fan base to get behind your players and be that 12th man. And I think, you know, when it's not going your way and blah, 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 you need somebody like Cunha to go, right, I'm going to get us a goal back. Now I need everybody to get behind me and we're going to get the draw out of this game, or we're going to go and fight for the win. And it, like you said, we looked like we were coming back into it. They scored and then we just went, game over.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate. I think some of the subs, I was quite surprised. I know Dan alluded to it. Sarabia coming on, had a bit of a
Enzo as well.
season.
Enzo looked good.
Yeah, I've liked some of this season with how Gary O'Neill sort of managed games and everything, and he's been able to, you know, galvanize the team in really crappy situations. My question to Matt about that is, you know, when you were sort of on the field of play, you know, in the action and everything, how hard was it for like a manager to sort of be able to translate, you know, any differences they wanted to make or any information that they needed to sort of pass on to the players?
Yeah, again, for me, I was on the wing, so it depended on what side of the pitch I was. I think, you know, with Mick, I could probably hear him, to be fair, on the other side. But a lot of the time, it's you've probably worked on it in training. If this happens in a game, this is what we're going to do. Substitutes that are coming on will tell you information that's been passed on to them by the. Just reading this now. Wolves 4, Blackburn 2. Yeah, brilliant.
Thanks for that, Joe.
Thank you, Joe. But yeah, I think realistically, you know, the people around you and the other players on the pitch can shout on information, and it's just you pick it up straight away. You know, a lot of it is to do with like, right, you're picking up him from corner, you need to be first man in the wall or something like that. If there's a tactical shape, it's like, right, you're playing as a 3 up front or a 5 in the middle or whatever it is. You know, you come to terms with it pretty quick because you'll figure out, right, well, he's not there, so we have to do that. And it can be pretty quick. It's not going to take you a couple of minutes to work it out. You know, you're going to be able to get this on board pretty quick, and substitutes and in-game changes are massively important, and that's what really flips a game one way or another. I think, you know, as you mentioned, I think Gary O'Neill's done a great job of that. Really.
Yeah, it's shocked me, to be fair, how he was able to just, you know, in 4 days be able to, you know, play against Old Trafford and change the way we played. Really, it was weird. Like, I didn't expect us to be as pacey. I didn't expect us to use like the width as much as we did, and even when the width wasn't available, we were going through the middle like they were like nothing. And it was really, really good to see.
I think what he done well is he actually got all the players on side straight away.
Yeah.
Because they all bought into what he wanted to do, and the passion and the desire was all there to everyone to see. And that's what a new manager can do. And he's obviously come into the change rooms, and everyone's gone, I like what I hear, I like what I see, and they just bought into it straight away.
I think he surprised everybody. I know. Obviously, you're a pundit as well, Matt, as well.
I played with Gaz twice, 2 different clubs as well.
Yeah. Nice.
So always singing his praises.
Oh, bless. When obviously he was linked with Wolves and everything, and obviously when it all came to be and what have you, I know you were like a pundit at the time, and obviously you're hearing from the grapevine it was all happening. What did you think sort of about his pedigree? Was you a little bit like, I don't know, but did you think it was a good appointment for Wolves at the time? And be honest, I know he's your mate.
Yeah. No, to be honest though, when he first got the opportunity at Bournemouth, I was like, wow. So really, I knew he obviously he done his coaching and done everything, but that opportunity at Bournemouth came up and he did so well. It wasn't so much of a surprise to me, but it was like, wow, okay, he's done so well. Then when I saw he got the Wolves job, I was a little bit like, that was a shock to me a little bit. But then you start like assessing it and going down and thinking, well, actually, he's played the game at the highest level. He's played under so many different managers. His work ethic as a player was like top draw. And then he's gone in and he's done a great job in coaching after playing. He's then gone and had the experience of Bournemouth and done really well. And I think he had that bitter taste when he left Bournemouth to be a little bit like, actually, I need to show everyone again what I can do. And I think that was the opportunity that Wolves presented. And I think he's jumped at it and wanted to prove everyone wrong and prove all the Wolves fans and everyone right that he was the right man to do it. And that's why I think it's, he was so hungry to succeed and to do well. I think that's why it's been a good success so far.
He does seem like that sort of bloke, to be fair. Like, he does seem like you say, after the Bournemouth job, he does seem like the type of bloke to want to prove people wrong. And I think that's such an important trait to have, especially in the game of football. I think it's brilliant.
Nice. Well, we've touched on to the 2 games. Just going to use the rest of the time really to talk to you about different things, if that's all right, Matt. I know that
cool.
A couple of the lads have got questions. I know we've got some questions over on socials and everything, and I'll obviously choose the ones that I feel appropriate. Because we are dealing with the internet. But should we start with John? John, do you want to ask Matt a question, if that's cool, mate?
Yeah. So I think Carl's got quite a few about your time playing at Wolves. So I'm going to move on to something a bit different. So for the people that have been listening that maybe don't know, it was around just over 10 years ago you got a call up to England. And I think at the time some names that also got called up, just so people know who you were with in the squad with. Peter Crouch, Ashley Cole, Wayne Rooney, John Terry, Carl Walker, Frank Lampard, Jermaine Defoe. I think that's all right. Anyway, I had to go back quite a while on Wikipedia on that.
Just some names that might have heard of them, might not have heard of them. Just.
So I've asked for people to provide questions, and these are the ones they asked about England. Some of the fans. So firstly, can you remember when you first got the call to say you'd been picked to play for England, and where were you, and how did that feel?
Absolutely, I remember. We played Aston Villa away, early kickoff. I scored. We won 1-0. Fantastic result. I went home, back down south. I come back up the next day in the evening. I just got into my house, went into the kitchen. I got a text message. And the text message basically said that I'd been called up for England and a few other details. And I stood there for a minute and thought it was a wind-up, because I've heard loads of stories about people getting messages saying they've been called up and they haven't. So luckily for me, about 45 seconds later, I get a call from the same number, and it's someone from the FA to say that I actually did. I got called up, and that was just, incredible moment. I was there with my wife at the time in the kitchen, and we were, just amazing. And then it was like, right, you've got, I think it was about half an hour to if you want to tell anyone before it goes out on Sky. So I was calling, I called my brother, I called my mum and dad, but I couldn't get hold of my mum and dad. Neither their mobiles, neither the house phone. So I actually called an Indian restaurant that they used to go to on a regular basis, and I called the owner up, I called the restaurant up, and he answered. I said, "Oh, my parents." They were like, "Yeah." I said, "Could you put them on?" So I told them there. So they had a few drinks to celebrate. But yeah, incredible, awesome. Absolutely incredible.
That's great stuff.
So yeah, great. Yeah. Question is, who in the England squad? I know you were there not that long. Who in the England squad did you most get on with?
To be fair, it was like I didn't know really any of them personally before I went. I'd obviously played against all of them, but I didn't know any of them. So when I first got there, it was a bit like first day at school. Like, where do I sit? Where do you sit on the bus? Because everyone has their own seats. They've all been there before. It was a bit like that. But they were brilliant. Honestly, they were brilliant with me. Joe Hart was great. I sort of knew friends of friends as well. So that was good. I mean, to pick out a couple, Joe Hart was great. Michael Dawson was good fun as well. Because there's a few played a bit of table tennis and stuff like that as well. So it was good fun. But they were really sort of welcoming, get me into the group. I got on with Carl Walker as well quite a bit.
Nice.
Brilliant. It's crazy to think that Carl Walker's still going. Do you know what I mean? Like, you look at some of the names there, and even some of the young ones, and they're retired and stuff. So moving on from England, about current Wolves, what positions do you think we need to target in the summer to improve?
It's a good question, really. I think everyone's always after a centre forward. I think, but every club's after a centre forward. I think maybe a centre half. To be fair, look at the miss that Dawson. When he's out, I think he's a huge miss. And he unfortunately is getting a little bit older. He's still a fantastic player. I think he's been a great buy, but probably a centre half. I think it's just tweaks. I think we've got a decent group, but it's strength and depth that's good. It's the biggest weakness, unfortunately.
Okay. I don't know if you're aware, but a couple of hours before this went live, Liam Keane, who's quite a big Wolves journalist, Ben Jacob, Jack Talbot, they've all posted this evening to say that Wolves are now in advanced talks to sign Che Adams from Southampton on a free, because his contract runs out in a few weeks. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but I think he's a player that, from what Liam Keane said, that Gary's quite keen to get into the squad, and I know they've been looking at him for a while, and I think they went in for him last summer. I think it was the summer, the couple of days after Matheus Nunes was sold, they went in for him. So that's a player they're looking at.
Yeah, I think he's had experience in the Premier League. I think everyone's after a centre forward that's going to score you 20 goals a season. I don't think he's going to do that, but at the same time, I think he's you're not going after a player repeatedly if you don't like what they do. And I think he's going to be a team player. He's going to be able to do the job as not a lone striker, but do that sort of role, because I think that's important to the way that Wolves play at the moment, and Cunha just being able to roam off whoever it is. So it's another option, and it's a free transfer, which is everyone's going by this financial fair play. It's a shrewd bit of business.
Okay, brilliant. Cheers. So the next question, a bit more about how things work from your experience that we don't know from a player side. We've got a few players that are out on loan that basically decided not to be with the Wolves squad anymore. So Daniel Podence, for example, he obviously had, I think at the time it was more Lopetegui that he had disagreements with, and a few people at the club, and then obviously he went on loan to Olympiacos on the final days of the window. How is it as a player if maybe Gary does decide that he wants to bring him back? Like, has a player got much say? Like, do you think like behind the scenes will bridges be burnt? Has a player got more of a chance to come back maybe because there's a new manager, or how do you think that could work as a player?
Yeah, I think you've got more chance if it's a new manager and a bit more of a fresh start. I think maybe the other side is it might not even be to do with if football. It might be to do with location, might be family. It might be he doesn't not settled, or there's loads of other factors in that's involved in that. I quite like him as a player myself.
Yeah, I love him,
So it would
As a
be
player.
great to see him back. Yeah, of course. But I think he's a really good player. So you're hoping that as the new managers come in, Gaz will be able to speak to him and if he wants him to stay, to have a chat with him and see his role in the team and how he fits in. But it might not be as simple as that. It might be, again, it might come under a little bit of financial things that you're thinking, well, if it's worth him going wherever else that it might be financially more beneficial, then that's going to be a major factor. But I think as a player, if you've got another opportunity and you obviously like the club and you want to be there, I think a new manager coming in, it's a great opportunity for you to go back and get in a team if the manager wants you.
Brilliant.
John,
okay.
One more if that's okay, because
I've only got one more. I've only got one more anyway to go.
Lovely.
So this fits in quite well with the news just before we went on here about VAR. So another one from a fan that's asked, how do you feel about the possibility? There was rumours about VAR having someone on the panel that's an ex-football player or ex-football pro to help with decisions.
Yeah, look, I think it's a good idea, but we're going back to it's still someone's opinion. It's not right. It's not fact or fiction, and I think that's the biggest mistake that we keep going over, because the referee makes a mistake, but before, if he made a mistake, you had to get on with it. Whereas now, if 2 or 3 or 4 people make a mistake or they're debating it and it's still not quite there, it's still someone's opinion. You might as well have just had the referee make his decision, and it sort of not belittles the referee in a sense, but whatever they make, if they make a decision, in the back of their mind, they're thinking, well, if it's wrong, it doesn't matter because someone else is going to get it, pick it up. So I think potentially if they did go back to it just being the referee's decision, then I think it would be back on the referee to make the correct call, which I think everyone would they're not always going to agree with it, but I think they'll get on with it.
Yeah.
Nice one, Kyle.
Brilliant. That's everything for me. Yeah. Cheers.
Yeah, so I'll piece through these because I know we're running out of time. Have you got a favourite goal or assist that you remember while at Wolves?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say the Villa one, purely and simply because of after it, Capello, who was the England manager when I went to England, his first sort of thing was like, you were really close, but that goal you scored got you in. So it was like a, that's a meaningful goal. Don't get wrong, it was a decent strike as well, but it was a meaningful one as well to get me into the England squad.
Quality, man. And obviously you started your youth at Millwall. How different was it from being a youth player to a Premier League player?
Yeah, well, don't say that too loud. I actually, funnily enough, I was at Millwall for about 7 years as a kid. I actually got released at 16. I got told I wasn't good enough, which is devastating as a 16.
How wrong were they?
Well, funny enough, they were. Right, so that was quite nice. But yeah, it's amazing how things change, because I got released at 16, and then I was 17 when I was playing in the Championship with first team for Gillingham. So it's people's opinions, and for me, I was lucky that I got the opportunity to go on a trial at Gillingham. Bearing in mind, I was rubbish on trial because my confidence had gone. But then once I got offered a contract, it just changed for me. My mentality, my confidence just rose, and then I was playing in the first team at 17. So it is, players are, they can be quite vulnerable. Yes, you have to be mentally strong and be able to cope with everything. But as a young player at 16, getting told I wasn't good enough is a bit devastating. So to then to be able to go and turn that, and then go the year later be playing in the Championship, and then at that age you don't have fear, especially as me as an attacker, you don't have fear. You take people on, you lose the ball. Well, doesn't matter. I'll go and do it again. And that's what the young players breed. But then 2-3 years into it, then you start getting that doubt back again. And that's like I would have a little bit of like a sort of thinking about like a Rashford, who's burst on the steam, been fantastic, and then he's had a few seasons where he was like that, and then he's had a couple of like where you start second guessing and doubting yourself a little bit, and that all comes down to confidence.
Brilliant. And then you're smashing goals in against the Villa and sticking your middle finger up to wherever. So yeah, quality.
Exactly.
No, awesome, man. Like, I know you struggle with a few injuries as well. Like, how does that knock you coming back?
I mean, to be fair, I had a few injuries, nothing like major up until I was about 31. I'd done my hamstring at Wolves, which was my worst injury at Wolves, and that was I was like a shotgun going off of my hamstring. That was, but it's devastating. I mean, you look at players, and you're either in the gym, you're doing like monotonous stuff, like strength stuff in the gym, and all you're looking at is onto the training pitch, and you see all of the other teammates training, and it's demoralising. For me, towards the end when I was at Norwich, I had 4 operations in 3 years. It was the worst time of my whole life, let alone football career. I got basically told to retire, got told by the specialist to retire, and I said no, because what was I going to do? Just be injured and have no treatment and not have the rest of my life. So I wanted to get back and play, which I did. But it's the worst part of football for me. Is because you're getting paid, but you're getting paid to do something that you dream about doing as a kid, and when you can't do that and you're helpless and you're in pain, really it's horrific. It's the worst part of it.
I hear you. Like, I've just had my ACL reconstructed, and
God.
I've only just got back on my feet, and I've lived and breathed football since I was a little kid, and I completely get it. Even knocking around with the kids at work, it's just something just takes it away from you, and it's a big part. So I do completely get that.
It's mentally extremely difficult as well, but physically it takes its toll on you as well. Operations, definitely.
Have we got time for one more? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just 2 seconds, Carl. Just while we're on the subject of like mental health and everything, I don't know if you saw the Wolves media team did a really good piece on mental health outside of Molineux during the Luton game, where Reaper, a rapper that's signed over in Wolves, he's now an ambassador for the foundation, which is awesome. But I don't know if you saw that, Matt. It sometimes you forget, don't you, what goes on in someone's head and everything. And I know I struggle pretty badly with mental issues and stuff. And I think we think sometimes that everyone's just okay because we just get on with our lives and everything. But it really is an important thing to talk about if you're struggling with anything mentally. We're open to talk to, and I know there's obviously loads of different sources that you can use as well. But my question really to you, Matt, is as a player, like starting from a young age and whatever, we'd sort of tapped into sort of your mentality and everything. But how hard is it really for like nowadays? Like there's a lot more spotlight on you in the media and whatever. Like social media is dreadful for it. We're all sort of guilty of that as well. And sometimes I have to step back and go, bloody hell, why have I said that for, man? Like they're human beings at the end of the day. And but yeah, what's your sort of opinion on the whole mental sort of side of the game?
Yeah, I'm a massive believer of the psychology of it. The psychologists in sport, in football especially, social media makes it's ridiculous. I get it, like I really do. If you're a fan and you've worked all week and you worked extremely hard to then go to a game and it's your release. And as a player, yes, I think a lot of people think that everyone's getting paid like what they 1% of the Premier League get paid, and then they deserve to be absolutely abused on the sidelines. They are just normal people, but they are getting to live their dream by playing football. they struggle with anything. You don't know what's going on in there behind the glass. You're just looking at what they're doing on the pitch. There's so many different surroundings. It could be a family member, it could be a daughter, son, it could be anything that's going on that interferes with that. And I think that unfortunately, I get it. You can have your release and everything, and I actually feel like a lot of fans, you need that. It's their passion. It's their desire to go out and have a good time with their mates and shout and scream and cheer the team on. But the other side of things is then the online abuse that the players get, and they're not going out to try and disrupt or disappoint people. They're going out to just try and perform and play the best that they could possibly do for themselves and their club. So it's a fine balance, because yes, you're right to your own opinion on players and people, but at the same time, you just got to understand that now, especially in the last sort of, I'd say 2 or 3 years, now it's much more apparent and much more. People are actually able to speak and actually go and able not be afraid to actually tell people what's going on. And I think that's a massive positive in what can change.
Were you sort of guilty of that, Matt? Like sort of holding things back a little bit? And probably, I
think my injuries sort of I don't know. I suppose in the end helped me out of it. It's the worst, as I say, it's the worst part of my life. But my wife's very much, her mum's a psychotherapist, and I was more of a closed book, and they're much more of an open book. And I think that sort of helped me to actually first to sort of open up and say, I used to go home and sit on the sofa and cry and be like, I can't do this anymore. I'm still in pain. I need to, I'm desperate to get back fit. I was missing out on my son growing up. I missed out the first sort of 2 years of his life, really, because I was concentrating on trying to get fit. And, my wife was back home trying to help with getting kids. So, there's so many sacrifices that you make, but it's all, for the great, you're sacrificing because yes, you're getting paid, but you're playing, the ultimate dream. You're playing the sport that you love. And it's your job. I mean, what a privileged, amazing position to be in. But it comes with a lot of sacrifice.
Nice one. So I know you've got to go now, Matt. Just wanted to say, anything that you're sort of doing at the moment that obviously people aren't such aware of, now you're out of football. Obviously, I know you did punditry for a bit. But what are you doing now? What are you up to now?
So I'm still doing the media and the puntry. I'm obviously, I mentioned before, I've got now go do the call in the morning, all about VAR. So that'll be fun. Yes, I mean, unfortunately, I am an ambassador at West Ham as well. So I'm there quite a lot doing stuff. But obviously, would love to be able to do stuff at the back of the Wolves as well. So there's loads of things that I'm up to. And hopefully, I will be there in when there's the reunion for my team back then. It's going to be up at the stadium at some point soon.
Hey, nice. That's cool. That'll be a good time for you, man.
Tickets, please.
Get involved. Get involved.
Nice. All right, cool. Has anyone got anything just want to say just before Matt leaves?
What a legend, man. What an absolute legend, mate. I've been fangirling the whole time. What a legend.
You've held it together actually really well.
I have. You've been really good, Kyle. Really good.
Honestly, I've been in my seat like this the whole time.
Let's turn the saturation down on his camera because he's fast.
Matt, honestly.
It's been a pleasure. I absolutely loved it.
Thank you, man.
So, I loved it. It was amazing.
What a guy. Thank you so much. Man.
Thanks very much for dropping down and what have you, Matt, and good luck with whatever you get up to in the rest of your career in that.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you, mate.
Cheers, Matt.
I'll see you later.
Matt.
Nice to meet you.
Take care.
See you later. Bye. Goodbye. Lovely job. There he is. Really humble bloke, weren't he, man?
What a guy.
Really nice guy.
Yeah.
Really nice guy.
Really enjoyed that.
Cool. So obviously you joined us on socials. You've obviously got a load of questions for Matt, but there was also questions that were sort of orientated to us as well. And I know that obviously I'm going to go over those now. So does anyone want to add anything extra if they can think of anything extra while I'm getting these comments up? I know we've got Liverpool. What do you guys think about that? What
You never know. What they got to
That.
play for now? They got nothing to play for, have they? So
They got much to play for.
You never
It's a
know.
bit of a free
You know
hit.
what? I think it'd be a good time to start some kids, man.
Yeah.
Like, we've got nothing
I
to
think
lose.
Neto. I think Neto will have some minutes as well.
I think
Yeah.
Neto, get him back at the side.
He wants to be.
a game.
He wants to be viewed, doesn't he? Before the
I'd
Euros
like to see
and the window.
Enzo. I'd like to see a bit more of Chirewa.
I think Bellegarde
going
could
into
maybe
next
start.
season. Bellegarde, I think
Bellegarde.
should start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doyle start maybe
Yeah.
because
I don't think we've got
started
Dawson back, have we?
no started Boubacar. No, he's definitely not. Dawson's out now.
Yeah, he's got the. I don't even know if he'll make pre-season, but it's,
No, I don't think he'll make America. No.
Yeah,
Another
it's
reason
be...
why I think that they want Mascara back because Dawson's definitely not going to be able to.
That's another thing to touch on. Mascara got sent to. Well, he was in the team of the week for La Liga, and you think about some of the teams. You know what I mean? Barca, Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid.
Did we get player of the match as well?
He got player of the match for that game, and then he got he scored an awesome goal, and then he got in the La Liga team of the week, and he's just literally every single game he's just getting better and better. And I think what I heard from some of the Spanish journalists there is that he's basically in the midfield next to a really older veteran centre back that has an amazing career. He played a number of years at Real Madrid as a centre back, and he basically just all his experience and all his everything he knows about basically being a centre back, he's passing on to Yersin Mosquera, and he's just getting better and better and better. And he's not just playing as a centre back. One game he'll play as a full back, might play as a right back, and then for the full 90 minutes, and he's still getting great ratings, and then he'll come back the next game to play in centre back. And you think about now, like how versatile that is, and how much we may need that if maybe Semedo goes, or if he's still there and he gets injured or anything like that. Just to have a player that's really comfortable in both positions, because sometimes you do get a centre back that can do that, but maybe they're not quite as good. But the fact that he's getting 7.8, 7.9 ratings as a fullback, and then the next game dropping back as a centre back and scoring goals and getting clean sheets, he seems the real deal. And I wouldn't be surprised if Villarreal try everything they can to keep him. I wouldn't be surprised if they put a massive offer in. Not a massive offer, but for them a massive offer. Do you know what I mean? You think about it, they've probably got a little bit of money to spend. I think they've had
He's
some
only
big
young
sales
as well, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's like 20 or just turned 23. So he's still young. For a centre-back, that is ridiculously young. And
it'd be nice to see him come back and speak to the likes of Dawson, who's got so much experience, to see if he can pick up what he picked up in Spain, and then see what he can pick up from Dawson, who spent most of his career in England. So, all of his career.
He's playing in the back four as well. So if you think about it, like Dawson did play quite a bit in a back four when he was at West Ham and stuff. So you know what I mean. And so did Santi Bueno and stuff, played in a back four. So it does make you think, if you've got someone that's really good like that, maybe you have got options to actually play a back four that, I know we've done it this season, but actually performs well and does well. But it's interesting because he's a massive prospect, and I know a lot of people in Colombia are going mad about him.
Yeah, getting someone like that back would offer so much depth across the back line as well.
Yeah.
I'm getting just some Instagram comments, because obviously they can't actually post them in this, which is a bit annoying. I know that they're working on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm having to copy and paste them in, so I apologise for that. But Storm Henriksen says, I think Enzo Gonzalez and other players that have been on the bench 100% of this season should get some minutes against Liverpool.
Couldn't agree. Enzo looked good. He looked calm. He looked calm, didn't he? Didn't do a lot, but he didn't look shaken by coming on. I think he looked all right.
Yeah. I think they've just got to be a little bit careful, because I think it was quite a nasty injury he had, didn't he, in was it January or February? So I think they'll probably just be really careful about his minutes. But I suppose whatever the physios and the medics say he can play, they can do. But I doubt he'll be able to play loads of minutes, because it was quite a nasty injury.
Same lovely gentleman says, or lady, not sure, if you could sign 3 realistic signings for Wolves, who and why? Dan, do you know anyone that maybe...
Are we doing this as a panel? Are we doing 3 as a panel or 3 each?
No, go on. 3 realistic signings for Wolves. If anyone wants, put your hand up if you want to talk. Go on.
No, I don't. I don't know 3 players. I don't know.
You don't know 3 players?
I
Love that.
don't know why you got. I don't know why you got me. To be honest.
Oh, come on,
Go on.
mate.
I'll have a go. I'll have a go.
We love,
Go on,
we love
John.
you to pieces. Go on.
I'm going to go with players that we've actually been linked with because I think they're the most likely ones. So Mohamed Amoura, who plays for Algeria, who's a striker, can also play as a winger. Really versatile player. Scores loads of goals, ridiculous amount of goals. I think he's got like 30 goals and assists this season. I know he's in the Belgium squad, but you do have to think that they have been playing in European football. They're playing in Europa, playing against teams that are difficult opposition. They played against Liverpool and beat them, and he scored. Do you know what I mean? So if he can go up against that kind of back line, just shows you what he could potentially do for Wolves. Rumours are that it would be around 20 million euros, which is around 17 million pound. But then obviously there'll be wiggle room to get that lower down, so maybe towards that 15 million pound threshold. We know people close to the club are saying that they're looking between 8 to 15 million pound on players, but they are willing to go a little bit higher than that if it's someone that they really want or someone they've been targeting for a long time. So I think he'll be a great player. I do think we need a second striker or a second forward. So obviously I'm going to say Adams because it looks like that's going through and potentially if things go well could be pretty soon. So I think that's a good signing. I know a lot of the fan base aren't too happy with it, but if you do actually look at his stats, he's actually done really well this season. He's got Premier League experience. He's coming into his peak years now. I just think he's fitting well. And I think you've got to remember, Hwang wasn't the best last season. Some people were saying that maybe he needed to get moved on. And you think about when Gary came in, what he did with him, for example, what could he do with Adams? I just think if you're a fan, you've just got to bite your tongue a little bit and just allow Gary O'Neill to work some magic. And you've got to remember that Wolves probably have got, well, they definitely have now, definitely got better players, I think, that can provide him better service. Yeah. Pedro Neto, some of the balls coming in, Lamina from behind, obviously Sarabia, Bellegarde, so many different players there that can pass a good ball to him, give him more chances. So yeah, that's another one. And then third player, I really like the look of, he plays as a winger and plays a fullback, and he's on loan from Braga at Estrol. Is his name Gomez? I think it's Gomez.
Yeah.
Gomez.
Sorry, yeah.
And I think there was links in January, February that we'd already got a deal in place for the summer. We keep on getting linked back to him. He can play as a fullback. He can play as a winger. I think it's anywhere on the right hand side he can play. He looks really good. He looks like he can score goals, get assists. And I think even if Semedo stays or goes, I think he'll be a good player to bring in because Doherty ain't getting any younger. And I don't think Doherty's got a massive amount of time left in his contract. Is he 24 months, I think, he's got left?
Not very long.
So we definitely worth looking at a player like that. So that's my 3.
Yeah, that comment actually fiddles onto my 3 quite nicely.
Cool.
Do I think Saul will go? I'm 50-50 on that, but I do think we should get Aaron Ramsdale in. I know we've been linked with him through the grapevine a little bit. Whether it'll actually happen or not, or whether we'll afford his wages is one story. But I think that's a realistic signing that we could aim for, and I think it'd be amazing for us. I really like Ramsdale, and he's obviously not getting a look in at Arsenal, so I think that'll be amazing. John said Amora. I think, Amora would have been one of mine as well. And like I say, Callum Wilson, I'll go back on it. I think Callum Wilson, with being the age he is, I don't know how much money Newcastle would be willing to sell him for, or if they'd be willing to sell him, because he is starting to make a few more appearances now. But yeah, I think Callum Wilson is somebody we could look at, and he'd bolster our attack massively. So that'd be my 3.
Yeah, if I'm going to say, just adding on to what you guys have said, with the goalkeeper situation, I know people are like, well, we don't need goalkeepers, we've got 3 of them. We saw Dan Bentley had probably one of the worst goalkeeper performances of the season. We know that King obviously is only there really just because we need English players. It's pretty much the only reason he got a contract extension is the fact that we just need more English players. And we also heard from Matt Jarvis himself that managers aren't going to change the way we play. And if managers aren't going to change the way we play, and we're constantly using a sweeper keeper, Jose Sarr ain't the answer.
Nah, his pants with his feet. Good shot stopper, I'll give him that, but with his feet, he scares the shit out of me.
And the same goes for our centre back sometimes as well. I don't think Max Kilman plays well in a 4, so it depends with whether, you know, because I know that for a fact Gary O'Neill wants us to play a 4. I think he wants us to play a 4-3-3. And we ain't ever going to play a back 4 with Max Kilman. So I'll just sell him while he's worth some money. While he's worth a bit of money, if Napoli come back in and go, oh, we'll give you 30 million, mate, I would take that now. Now, just do it. Because we hold on to players too long. We do it too much. I'm talking about our Lord and Saviour just there. Matt, we signed this kid. I thought he was going to be... I thought, right, one thing I need is a signature from him because he's going to be awesome. And he's let me down. And the reason is because we've been buying the wrong players and then we're guilty of holding them too long. We hold them too long. You look at Raul, you look at Adama, you look at Neves. Across the board, we've just held on players too long and they're gone. And then that's it. You don't get any money from them. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like Ait Nouri, Joe Gomez, Pedro Neto, Max Kilman, players like that, yeah, they're going to be hard to replace. I get that, but you need the money, man. Like we really need money to be able to buy and strengthen this team, and we ain't going to do that without selling assets. And you can say, well, Fosun should be doing more than that, but they ain't gonna. They're not going to invest on a team that's underperforming. They're not going to do that. They're not going to invest in a team who can't sell out their ground. It's all right saying, oh, well, you know, we need to do this, we need to do that. Like, we also need to think more logically and not so much just because it's Wolves. We need the best, we want the best. Like, we aren't that team yet. And if we ever are going to get to the level of being that team, we can't make the same mistakes, and we're guilty of it constantly, over and over and over again. What has been your favourite moment as a Wolves fan, says Alex? If you're talking about in general, it would be when I went to the Millennium Stadium and I met Matt Murray after... I was a kid, man, and I literally was like... I couldn't speak, mate. I couldn't speak. That's the best moment as me as Wolves fan. We get promoted. He saves that penalty. What a moment. That's my favourite moment. 100%. Going up.
That's got to be one of mine. It's got to be one of mine. I think game-wise, I'd agree. What was it? Kenny Miller, Nathan Blake, Matt Murray saves the penalty, then... I can't remember.
Mark Kennedy, isn't it?
Mark Kennedy, yeah, that absolute rocket for left foot. He just curled away from Paddy Kenny.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Yeah, happy birthday, quality. Yeah, that's definitely one of mine. I think doing the stadium tours as a kid and obviously playing for the youth and that, I think that's got to be up there as well for me because I had the experience that a lot of young boys dream of. So I think, it's massive.
Same question, John.
For me, this is actually something new because you asked me a week ago and I'd say something different, but something I've been using to wind up Villa fans is I've been screenshotting our victory over Olympiacos in the Europa. And I've been having a few... I'm in a few chats and they've been rubbing it in my face over the last few days about getting Champions League, and all I do is respond with a screenshot of Wolves beating Olympia with what their score was and and that game. So that's my new favourite moment because I've been using it to wind them up because they're so upset they got knocked out.
I met with Diego Carlos not long ago because he was visiting a school that I was working at, and he was like. He spoke in Portuguese, obviously, so he had a translator with him, and I was talking to him for a bit because it took ages for the hall to be ready. And I just said to him, I was just like, like what kind of teams do you like and whatever. And I didn't even tell him I was a Wolves fan. He was just like, I really like the Wolves because obviously was a lot of Portuguese influence there. But what I really like what he said, which is why I was alluding to what John was talking about, is that he said that that he really wanted like Champions League football, obviously. And I think that's a massive thing for that club, man. Because they're gonna
Huge.
they're gonna keep hold of players now,
Huge.
and potentially get some big ones in as well. And it's easy to be an arsehole in it towards Villa and to Birmingham but you know what, mate? Fair play. At the same time, like Unai Emery comes in,
What a job he's done.
and he just I didn't think anything of
What a
Emery
job.
when he was at Arsenal. I thought he was dreadful, and he comes into Villa and just absolutely has done an incredible job.
I didn't mind him at Arsenal, you know.
If there's any Villa fans watching, fair play. You know what I mean? Like
He's done well.
We'll say pelters back and forth all season. We know I love that as well. That's why in a roundabout way I want Albion to go up for that reason. I love it. I love the banter. Do you know what I mean? I absolutely adore it. Do you know what I mean?
I'd love the Albion to come up because they're not ready to come up. They go straight back down again.
Yeah. But yeah,
I tell you what, though, with Villa as well is I don't know. I think it was the Athletic. I was listening to a podcast about the points and everything different teams were having, and then they were saying that apparently Villa and Newcastle both changed their accounts. I think it was till the 31st of June for their profit and sustainability, and they've got to raise. I think Villa have to raise £60 million profit. Pretty much, well, how long is that now? 6 weeks' time? And the transfer window. So you think about it, they're going to have to do a mass clear out of some players. And I was thinking there's a few players there that have come back from injury and stuff, maybe now. Like I don't know, like maybe not so much before then, but there's people like Buendia, like where would he fit in now? I think they'd have to sell a few. And you know what I mean? Tyrone Mings, like, does he fit in now? They've got quite a few centre-backs. Do you know what I mean? So there may be a few players there that they may be able to move on. I know, obviously, there's a lot of fans probably shouting at the screen saying, I don't want to take that, but they bought Dendonka from us. I'm sure that there's probably a relationship there now between the clubs.
No, I would not mind having keeping tabs on who they're going to get rid of. I think
I don't think Buendia will get any minutes now.
I think they're quality.
I don't think Buendia will get any minutes, and he could be a good player.
The transition of getting players from local clubs is always better as well. This why Che Adams is a decent one because I know he's got family around here and that. Right, I'm gonna say hello to my missus. There we go. There's my missus saying hello.
There she is. All right,
Mom. Also, Owen the Hatters, which is a Instagram handle for Luton, just said class new profile pictures. Thanks, mate. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, there it is.
There we go. Thank you. I needed that. I needed that. Nice. Joe says, great game at the Millennium Stadium. I was there. Mate, that's just... if I could bottle that feeling, mate, I'd literally be in that bottle all of the time. It was the best feeling ever. I'm getting married this October. My missus in the chat at the moment, and I'll be honest.
Don't say it.
It would hopefully be on par. Nice one.
Mate, I had a feeling that was going to go south.
I do like the way we are linked with many players for squad depth and that, but I still believe we need a main guy. Yeah, nice one, Storm, for coming over as well.
Who would Storm get in? Who would Storm's top three be?
Yeah, good question, actually.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Put one back out there to the fans.
Nice guy, actually. If you look at every inform good team, they have one main guy. We had Raul and Neves. I think we should get some money in for Neto. I genuinely think I'd rather sell Neto than Ait-Nouri. For me, I think Ray and Ait-Nouri would be a 100%. Massive loss, man. I don't think
out of all of them, I would just rather sell Coleman. I'd rather just keep everyone and sell. I don't mind selling Neto. He's probably not my second choice, but number one player.
He's not a bigger asset, though, is he? Like, the biggest asset is either Neto, Ait-Nouri, or Joe Gomez, isn't it?
But would Kilman go down for more money because on paper he's classed as pure profit? not pure profit, because I think we paid.
Oh yeah, true.
I think we paid
100%, yeah.
£10. I think we paid £10 and a Freddo for Kilman, didn't we?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
Those are about 2 million now, aren't
going
they?
to say Freddos are expensive. What was I going to say? Oh yeah. Get the Instagram comments up real quick, and then we can think about shutting down. Thanks for all of the responses over on Instagram. I've took a few. If I had to tell them all of them, we'd be here all day. Jamie Harrison says, where do you think Wolves will finish in the 24-25 season?
I think it all depends on summer.
Yeah.
Depends on who we keep, who we get rid of. I think Gary's going to have a hell of a pre-season with the players. I think giving him that time, I think we'll really get to see what he's about at the start of next season. I think, because he came in, he had 4 days to prepare. Do you know what I mean? That is nothing for a manager. You barely know the players at that point. Do you know what I mean? There's still going to be staff around the ground at that point that you've not even met. And you're going in, you're starting the Premier League. So I think giving Gary that pre-season is going to be huge. And, a good summer. I think smart business, if we play it smart this year, obviously everything resets after next year, for next year, with the financial fair play and stuff. Because that's the end of our 3 years per se. And then
the new rule will go in if that passes as well at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
That actually favours us more than the other one.
Exactly, and I think it's a really important summer for us as a club. Like getting players in, trying our best to keep our core of strong players, whether it happens or not, whether we will have to sell to get that big player in, or a player that Gary thinks I could work with this player better than this player. We'll see, but I think it really all depends on summer.
What position though? What number?
It's got to be a number 9.
9. 9th position.
Sorry, I thought you was asking what number. Sorry, I thought you was asking me what number player I'd get in.
What are you thinking?
I don't think 9th's a bad shout,
9th, yeah.
I was going to say 9th as well.
Nice.
Again, depending on the summer, but I think anywhere between 9th and 12th. I think we'd take that.
Yeah, John, what you think, mate?
When you asked it, 8th came to mind, and I think it's because I think in my head, if we had this season, if we had a bit more depth, we probably could have maybe got 8th. And I think maybe next season, you never know, depending on the coefficient. Again, 8th may be enough for a conference spot, but I've just got a feeling that. But think about the season we've had, and I think about hopefully. I don't know why. I've just got a feeling Hobbs will do well. I think Hobbs will sell.
Mate, he cooks, mate.
He cooks. I've just got a feeling he'll get like a Mateus Nunes kind of deal out the way. I think someone will come in for someone like Neto, like Arsenal. They'll be like, we can give you so much money, but there's Reece Nelson and there's Natekia, and we need to get rid of these two. So what about if maybe we give you some money and then this player will go the other way? But it won't go down on paper as a swap. What it'll go down as, like the Doyle, is a full set amount that goes to Wolves, and then Wolves then buy but secretly behind closed doors, it is just a swap deal and cash. So I don't know. But I think like Reece Nelson, Natekia, Ramsdale, stuff like that, I think that's the kind of deals we do. I think Hobbs is really smart like that. I think there's probably going to be... I'm really confident he'll sell Guedes to Villarreal, and I think maybe a player may come our way from there. I think we spoke about previously, what's his name? Brayton Diaz, someone like that. There's probably fringe players that we don't know about. Maybe a fullback, something like that. They've got quite a good squad, and they've got some players that haven't got long on their contracts and stuff like that. So there's probably movement there, because we know in the Spanish news that they're saying that they really want to do everything they can to sign Guedes. So I think that'll be brilliant for the fan base to show that we are actually doing something and making a bit of money off the dead wood. And I just think Hobbs will do well, and I think he'll invest it well. I think we will get squad depth, and I think we'll have a much better season. I know that's really hard to say after the season we've had. It's been pretty impressive. I just think that February, March kind of time where players are worn out, we may have enough players now to rotate the squad and actually finish off a season
I think
on
that's
a buzz.
The important thing is getting more players. just to
Yeah.
fill the spaces.
Just some
because-
bodies.
Yeah, because we just have never been a team like that for such a long time, man. Even under Nuno, our squad was tiny. Like we haven't had a squad of players you can churn in and out.
I think there's
and
a. Oh, sorry, carry on, mate.
no, carry on. I was done with that part.
Oh, I was just going to say, there's a part of me that doesn't want to sell Neto, and the reason why is I generally think if we get enough players in, I think we can rotate him enough so maybe he can have a really good season. He may get injured because he is made of glass, but I mean, maybe he can get. Do you know what I
think
mean?
he's
Get
gone,
through
I
it.
do.
I think he may be gone, but there's a part of me that thinks maybe if we can get him to have a good season where maybe he's played 20, 25 games, and then the back end of next season, he's still so young, he's got so long left on his contract, we can get top money. Whereas I think with his injuries and stuff now, I think we're not going to, we're going to probably be, I think people were toying with the idea of 70 or even 80 million when he was at peak before his injury, and now they're talking about 50, 60 million. Like, would the club look at like a 30 million pound loss because he's had an injury? Whereas if we can get a bit more depth in, we can rotate him more, we can get him playing more games next season, maybe a bit more quality coming in, maybe even have a better. Do you know what I mean? I just think there's a part of me that thinks that maybe
He's happy at Wolves.
maybe
That's a nice thing to
that
come up.
he's happy. And there was an article last night,
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
there, to say that he doesn't even mind staying for another season. So there's just a part of me that thinks, yeah, we
Because
can keep
that
him
was
for
kind
another
of the
season.
worry, wasn't it? That was
Yeah.
a bit of a worry, wasn't it? Whether he was happy being here, and if you know he's happy here, then why not keep him for one more season? Get more minutes in him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
From a season, and then maybe
Yeah.
his price goes up. I think the same for Joe Gomez. You know, he's only just come into the team. His
Yeah.
price is just going to keep going up.
Yeah.
So we've got assets there that are increasing. I do think, though, we do need to sell someone. So
We do
gotta
need to sell
think
someone,
about it.
and for me, that's Kilman. I know it's not
Yeah.
going to be massive money, but the fact that we
Yeah.
rejected so much money last season, and some people would argue to say at least
United
three.
won him.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a lot more teams that are after him now. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a foreign team coming for him, which will push
you know
it up
what,
a bit
though?
more.
I'd say I agree with you on Kilman. I'd be tempted to get rid of Salah as well.
Yeah, them two could raise some decent money because the Saudis are that stupid.
Yeah.
They'll probably pay. They'll probably give you sorry if anyone from Saudi's listening. I'm sure they are.
No,
And you're not stupid. The clubs are stupid for how
I know
much
what you
money they
mean.
pay.
Yeah.
They will genuinely pay. I reckon you could get like 20, 25 minutes. I reckon you could fleece them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The thing is, I know exactly what John means. They're a lot that they're not as reluctant to get rid of money because
When they're sat on it, mate. When they're sat on it and they're wiping their ass for money, aren't they?
Yeah. Which is absolutely fine. You know,
And they are.
If you've
They've
got 25
£50
million,
notes and they're smoking them. You know what I mean? It's mad.
you've got 25 million for Saar, and then say you got 35 or 40 million for Kilman. That's 65 million, and then you've sold Guedes, Villarreal for 10, 15 million, and then you've sold Fabio for, I don't know, 10 million or something. We're gonna have to take a massive loss. But next thing you know, maybe Hugo Breno goes, he makes you a little bit of money. You're close to 100 million, and you've not sold Neto, you've not sold Gomez, you've not sold Cunha.
Yeah,
Not
Dan,
sold
what
Tomato.
do you think? Where do you think we'll finish? Did you say 9th? Did you say, mate?
I said 9th, yeah, I did.
Yeah, so cool. All right, we've already touched onto this, which is great. Dan Brom says, who staying in versus who's going. We've answered that. Fantastic. Do Fosa need to sell the club? That's from will.os10 over on Instagram. I don't think Fosun need to sell the club, but I do think it's a big season for Fosun to at least prove that they're still sort of interested in one way or another. I know they've been fairly open, really. I don't know why people are in such up in arms with, what they've come out and said. They've been open and said, look, we want to be a more self-sustained club. What we've done in the past ain't working. Buying people for stupid amounts of money and relying on Uncle George to get us these players and whatever hasn't worked for such a long time. And even when it has worked, you could argue, really, you could look at Lamina, you can look at Dawson, you can look at all these other players that haven't gone from that and arguably they want to be here more. They're more sort of, don't know, they're more loved in one way or another. They're more loved at the club as well. So, in my opinion, I don't think they need to sell the club, but I do think it's a big season. I think it's a huge season for Fosun now to show us what they're worth, and if they've got new practices and they want to try them, let's see them in action. Let's see him in action, and you know what? If the money does start coming in after player sales, and they back the manager to buy who he wants, then why are we moaning? Really, we're
I
only
think it's a
moaning
question
at the moment on what ifs.
I agree. I think you know, like we did the VAR video.
Yeah.
I think if we organise another one, possibly next week, and we'll do one on financial fair play, because I think a lot of people are still unsure of the ruling and stuff on financial fair play.
Yeah, nice one.
And
So,
we'll
yes or
get one of them
no's
out.
to Fosun selling?
I'm going to say, can we answer that question on the 1st of September? But I'm going to say no, but I think it's a question that needs to be revisited, because I think no one can really say until I think that's when we can judge it, because I think Matt Hobbs has got a sneaky under his belt. I think he's got some things lined up, and I trust him, I do.
Yeah, a couple more. So Brendan on Facebook said, will Enzo get on the first team next season?
Probably.
I don't think he'll get on the team, the starting 11. I think he'll be in and around it like he is now. Like he's still a kid. He's like 17 years old.
How he's been slowly introduced, to be fair. I think we could have seen a bit of a Fabio with him, where like he's introduced too long, and he hasn't had any time to establish himself in his life. Whereas now, we've seen him come out into media and said, things that he doesn't like, things he doesn't, things he likes and things he doesn't like about being in England and everything. And a lot of it was quite positive, to be fair, for a youngster. A lot of it was very positive, and like even the things that was a bit negative were more banterous, like I don't like the weather, but you know what, who does? So fair play, and so you ain't alone there, mate. So yeah, my answer to that, I think that he needs time, for sure. He's a winger, definitely someone we need to use, and a position we need to utilise next season for sure. If Chiquinho comes back as well, you've got options there with both of those guys, which is great. And I don't know, I liked when he first joined, and there was a story behind him. He was really young, never left his native country. Gets in a taxi and ends up at Molineux, and it was all sort of, I don't know, it was like a really nice situation. Do you know what I mean? Like we've put him into the limelight and everything, and hopefully he does play a little bit next season. It'll be nice to see.
As soon as he gets a chant, by the way, we need to put the fact that he gets in a taxi and ends up at Molineux in his chant, because I think that's it's class, isn't it?
Yeah, I do like.
But yeah, I think he'll be in and around the squad, but I don't think he'll be in the starting 11. But I think, like you say, give him time. He's definitely a prospect. I
don't think he's a player that we should loan either. I don't think he's a player that we should loan. I think we should very much
keep him as well
within the system, because I think it would ruin him, to be fair. I think if he saw...
Depends where he goes, doesn't it?
Yeah, but he ain't going to go to anywhere that's...
he's too young to be loaned anyway at the minute. He's too young to be loaned at the minute anyway.
So yeah, I think that's a decent answer for that. We've already answered that one, to be fair. One more question. Should we consider telling the board to stop using the club as leverage? That's Danny Boy Jones 1.
What does he mean by that?
I think he means like sort of using the club to sort of more of like a not like a brand, basically, like using
like a
the
financial
club.
puppet.
Yeah, basically like sort of like going back and forth to the club, doing a bit here, doing a bit there, and not really focusing on it 100%. Is what it's
hard, isn't it? Because you got to think these people are businessmen. The business people. It's Fosun. Yeah. Fosun isn't just one person. Fosun's a whole brand of people.
Huge.
Do you know what I mean? And it's massive, and they've got so many fingers in so many pies. And it's Wolves are, to them another finger in another pie. I know to us it's a lot more than that. You know, we live and breathe football, but to them it is a finger in another pie, and they want that part of the business to succeed, of course, but they have also got to focus on everything else. So I, as a Wolves fan, I'd say, yeah, stop using the club as a bit of a puppet, but put my business head on, you have to. So it's kind of a lose-lose, really.
Yeah. What about you, John? What do you think?
Yeah, I think I just don't think they want to pump any more money into it, and I think at the moment, I think they'll know players are getting interest. There's probably been a few big teams already sniffing around certain players, so they know that maybe they don't have to put money in. If you can get so much money from a player like Neto, and you've got someone like Hobbs that's fantastic at finding young prospects. We saw what he did with Joe Gomez, Lamina. I think maybe there is a backup if maybe stuff does go wrong in the summer, that maybe they will put their hand in their pocket. But I just don't think they need to at this moment in time. And I think them putting £190 million out of their own money into the club to clear our debts was a great thing. And there's some clubs that wouldn't have done that. So I think they're well in their right to say, I'm not going to put any more money in. You're going to have to sell some players to raise some funds. And we ain't going to be the only Premier League club. There'll be loads of clubs doing that. I think Everton will be the same. I think they'll have to sell some of their top players, some of their midfielders to raise money. I think Forest will be the same. We know, as I say, Villa are going to have to sell for them not to be in trouble. Same with Newcastle. There's a lot of clubs in the same position as us. So I know a lot of fans aren't happy about it, but you've got to think all other fans pretty much, apart from the top six, are in a very similar position. The same with Palace, who we just played. They're going to have to sell someone big, probably Elise, to fund some because the money just isn't there anymore.
I think there's like 3 or 4 clubs already looking at him.
Yeah. And to be honest, though, they don't have to spend big money. But I don't think it's big money, because I think his release clause is 60 million. And I think he's probably 70, 80 million pound player. But they've got a release clause of 60 million. So I think he will get snapped up.
Storm says, my 3 signings would be Amora for the pace, goal creating ability, Tarkowski or Pinnock, who can play in a back 4 or a back 3, Diarra, who's young and hard working talents. Yeah, nice.
It's good, some good ones, those. I like Pinnock, I do, to be fair. I don't know why we're not looking at Brentford, because they've got some players I think that are really good, and they don't really buy them in that expensive. I think they're the kind of players that maybe you could get apart from like the big names like Tony and stuff. Like is it Wizard? I think he's quite a good player.
No,
I think
so, yeah.
he'd be I think if you put like what our budget is, 15, 16 million quid, like I think they'd probably be, I'm not saying they'll accept it, but I think they'd be tempted by it for certain players. Do you know what I mean? There are a club, I think, that you could get some really good bargains from.
Nice.
Cool. We spoke about it before, haven't we? About the teams going down and what players we'd have, and I think there's some good players who would fit into our side in the clubs that have gone down. So definitely a market there to look at.
I think they're just going to be very savvy with how it's all under the grapevine at the moment. It all feels a little bit like they're going to be very clever. They're going to be very like a lot of deals probably won't get done until later as well, because of the various things that are happening with the Euros and everything. You probably won't see many deals get done until after then, and all of a sudden, we'll probably make a few moves and that. But I do think it'll be very interesting, a very interesting window, and it's going to prove a lot about Fosun. I know that ticket sales are rumoured to be going up. Season ticket sales are rumoured to be going up, which is going to rub people the wrong way. So that if you're going to do that, then you need to also prove that you're still interested in the club, and I think they will. I think things will happen. I genuinely do. I don't think we're going to be sitting here thinking, oh my God, we need new owners, because they're not stupid. They'd have gone by now. They're not dumb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're they're not idiots. They're not just going to go, oh, we can't go yet. We can't go yet. What are they going to say if we leave? They'll just go. They'll just sell us to someone else. There's definitely going to be other suitors that want us who are on as big as Fosun. And they'd sell us in a heartbeat if that's what they wanted to do. They're not stupid. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what I don't. If they've come out and said that they wanna stay there, they're interested in whatever. They've been talking to Liam Keane really, really closely, and they've said 10 million times that it's not going to be a huge spending window. Yet Gary O'Neill comes on a press conference and says, "Oh, you know what? It probably won't be a huge spending window." And everyone's like, "What the hell, man?" And you're just like, what? Where has that come? Why is it when he says it, it's like, oh my God, meltdown time. But when it's literally publicly put all over the internet, everyone's like, oh, you know what? It's all right. It's fine. We'll get by. It's just, you just have to think sometimes, man. Like, think about what you say and react to what happens. Like, you can't react based on ifs and whats, because you wouldn't get by in life. If all you're going to think, oh, this might happen, and this ain't good, what about if this happens? Just wait and see. And if you don't want to spend money on your season ticket, well, don't. There's a huge waiting list. It's enormous.
Yeah.
The last time I checked, there's like 5,000 people. Just
6,000?
in the South Bank. 6,000, no.
In the waiting list I thought you were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, so... they ain't gonna mind if you go, well, I'm not going. They're like, all right, well, he is. So it's just one of them, man. Like, just see what happens. I
think there's a lot to be positive of, because I think the last two windows, I think Hobbs has been, obviously not the January window because we didn't really do anything, but I mean, if you look at the previous summer and the previous January, we just know that Hobbs has got it in his locker to do well with minimal funding and get really good prospects. And I think Joe Gomez is a brilliant example. And I think really fans just need to bite the tongue and wait to the 1st of September. And if it has gone wrong, then you can put your hands up and say, look, I don't want Fosun to be here. But then if it has gone right, you've got to praise him.
Definitely. I don't think Fosun have done wrong that much wrong to a point where we've got to sort of be up in arms like United are with the Glazers. Like, they haven't done that bad, really. We're in the situation because of them, in good ways and bad ways, and you're going to have good moments and bad moments in a business. You're going to do really well and buy a player that's loads of money like Fabio Silva, our Lord and Saviour. He's going to have moments where 35 million for a youngster, he must be awesome. If he was awesome, no one's saying anything, because he's not been very good in English football, or in Scottish football, or
any football,
Dutch football,
or in Dutch football. But what I'm trying to say is, you're going to have moments where things don't work out. They are going to happen, and do
you know what? Fosun are clever. Some of the things they've done while being at Wolves, you can tell they're pretty clued up on business. Like, they are clever.
The amount of points we'd have been deducted, by the way. The amount of points we'd have been deducted would have been
one of the points I'm making.
Club ruining.
Yeah,
it would have been club ruining.
Yeah, that's one of the points I'm making. Like, they know the rules down to a T, and I think they've got people in who are clued up on financial fair play. Yeah. That can kind of go, actually, there's a way around it this way. Or you can take the avenue of this, but you're going to get this consequence.
Yeah.
And then Fosun have gone, okay, we won't put any money into the club because actually we probably can't at the minute.
No.
And I don't think it's a matter of them not wanting to. I mean, I can't tell you for certain. I don't think it's a matter of them not wanting to put money into the club and not see the Wolves do well. I think it's the fact that they can't, just in case. And I think us selling first is kind of a safety net to go, well, like we said before, we can sell a group of players get, say, what's near to 100 million, and then Fosun could go, well, here's another 60 to get you over the line.
Yeah.
And that way, we're still in profit 40 million.
Yeah.
And then we kind of stay on top of financial fair play that way. It's when we only sell 30 million pounds worth of players, Fosun then put 100 million pound in and puts us 70 million in debt.
Yeah.
Right, sound. I think that is a show. Been a really, really good show. Thought that special guest was absolutely awesome, Matt Jarvis. What a legend, man! For first
Top
joining
bloke.
us, and
Brilliant.
whatever, but for also being really open with like his mental health and just little things. Really, just showed us a little bit of a window into to being a player and everything. I thought that was really, really interesting. So,
Mate, I could have spoke to him all day. I could.
yeah, I know you could, Kyle.
I was
Gonna put a
ready,
poster
man.
up. Gonna put a poster up for the next one. It'll be behind him, a poster.
Yeah.
Signed poster.
Mate, honestly, what a bloke.
But yeah, that was really good. Touched on obviously the 2 games, and obviously we're going to do a match preview, John, for the Liverpool game. So expect that real soon as well. I'll do a match watch along because it's an away game. I can't make it to Anfield, so I'll do a watch along that you can watch that. Hopefully it's not as ranty as the last one. Christ, that was bad, wasn't it? Jesus. And we'll get our predictions for Liverpool then, really. I don't really think we need to talk about it just yet. But yeah, follow us on social medias, like us on social medias. I'd say medias for a reason. That was an inside joke that I think some of you guys might know. Go over on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We're on Spotify as well. And just get involved, really. We are the Wolfpack, and it's been a really good time, really good night. So anything you want to close off with, gents?
What a pleasure, man.
Nothing from me. Yeah, it's been great.
It's been our best one, I think.
John's going to run to the toilet as soon as this is over, I can tell.
Yeah, I always do that.
He's like...
I've gone for a whole bottle of water.
He's gone. Nice one. Nice to have you here as well, guys. And not this Wednesday, it's always a fortnightly podcast. So the next Wednesday, we'll have another special guest on as well. Couple of people lined up at the moment, which is really awesome. And if you're watching this, Matt, if you've constantly watched us talk utter garbage for another hour, then please, if you can, let your mates know. Get them on as well. Because when he was saying, I've got mates with Gary O'Neill and everything, I was like, that's my way in then, boss.
Yeah. Get him on.
Yeah, nice one.
That'd be quality,
thanks for everyone for being here in that, and we'll catch you on the next one in a bit, guys.
Pleasure as always. Peace.
Cheers, guys.
Bye, guys. See you.